Hello, happy Monday. It is Mix It Up Monday, and I am kicking it to Christmas. I have this random photo that's just a typical day at our house, and what I really wanted to scrapbook about and journal about is this right here, the Santa hat. Oh my goodness, it's a whole thing. The day after Thanksgiving, it comes out of storage and it stays through New Year's. It is a whole thing in our house. Thomas does it. It's been passed down to our daughter, Anna Claire, and I want to document it. So, who am I? I am Karen. I am the everything behind A Little Kinder here on YouTube and on socials, and I am super excited that you have joined me to hit a little Christmas in June. So I wanted to kind of talk about this picture for just a second. It's not the best picture in the whole wide world. It's probably, I don't know, it's just not the best, but it really tells the story. I mean, here where we live, December can be freezing cold or it can be hot. And this day it happened to be hot. And so, you know, it's just kind of funny. Here's the Santa hat and the shorts and the t-shirt. And then this is a very typical afternoon thing. And we see this all the time. And it's one of probably my favorite holiday memories. And something I look forward to every year. So I really wanted this to be the focal point. Today's Mix It Up Monday, we have a sketch. I will go ahead and pop it up in the corner because I know the black and whites are not great. But this is by Scrapping Harden. Kristen, who is more than likely scrapping this too. I'm super excited to get into this one. She will be linked down below. But here's what I'm thinking. Looking at this sketch, I am seeing background paper 1, background paper 2, cluster, maybe a pattern paper, maybe solid, cluster here, photo. And then I'm reading these areas at the top and the bottom as our mixed media pieces. And so that's kind of what I think I'm going to do. I am going to pull back out. You guys have seen me use these before. These water gems. I love how these mix in texture paste. And I really, there's not a red in here. So I think what I'm going to do is use the white. And it really just, it takes translucent paste, makes it slightly opaque, but not in a bad way. Like, it's still somewhat translucent, but you get the shine, you get all the things. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to use, I think, the dot stencil. I've kind of gone round and round and round. I thought about maybe using this piece, but it's really big. Snowflakes don't really go. The candy would, but the way that I'd want to use them is I would have to do onesies, and I don't know about that. I also pulled out Warm Wishes stencil set from Vicki Boutin. Again, we've got snowflakes. This one I really love, but I don't think it's going to really work with the with where I'm going with my texture paste today. And then we have the boughs, pine boughs, which might. So yeah, let's talk paper real quick. So I pulled out a bunch of stuff, random stuff. Some of it's leftovers from Vicki Boutin's Christmas album, Evergreen and Holly Christmas album. If you've never done one of her classes, I'm going to tell you now, they're worth it. I mean, I have a ton of stuff left over. And so a lot of this came from that. So I've pulled a lot of random things. I don't want to lose my photo. And y'all have to watch me dig for it. So in our sketch, it did call for some tags. So I've pulled some tag pieces. I pulled some vellum. I pulled some embellishments. I pulled letter stickers. But this is what I'm thinking for the backgrounds. I am very much thinking this is going to be my background. Then I was thinking my circle pieces be out of this, and then this be that piece that runs north and south that has the mixed media on it. So this is kind of why I wasn't wanting some of these bigger patterns. But I think that this paste is going to show through, and it's going to be really, really pretty. The other thing I want to do is inset this onto a white piece. So I am going to cut down the houses paper that I have buried. There it is. Just a little bit so we get a white edge all the way around it. I think that'll be really pretty. So those are kind of my plans. That's kind of what I'm seeing in my head. I am going to cut the mic off, fast forward us, and then we will be back together in just a minute. Talk you through what I'm doing because I don't know if you have ever done this before, and it really is kind of fun. So first of all, I'm scraping out a pretty generous amount of the texture paste. My bottle is almost empty, which means I need a new one, and I'm not sure I have a second one in there. So all right, so we're going to get out some texture paste. This is translucent. That means when dry you'll be able to see through it. It is flat grip paste. It's this one. So it will look like this. You can see the palette knife marks. This is the matte one. So it is translucent. You can see through it. But what I want to do is add some of this powder paint to it. So this is a water-based product. Not water-based. How do I explain this? This is a powder product that as soon as you add water to it, it becomes like a watercolor. So we're going to use Milky Way. which is going to make this a little bit opaque. But it's going to give it an amazing shimmer. I don't think I have a swatch of this. I'll add that to my to-do list. I know that I painted some quick ones once upon a time, but I don't see them sitting here. All right, now here's the fun part. We're going to mix this up. Because this is white on white, you kind of more have to go with feel. You really have to get in there and scrape. Now, is this technique for everyone? Well, I think yes. I think this is a fantastic technique, especially if you're just starting to dabble. You do not have to have the powdered watercolors. You could use a little bit of, say, a stamp pad that you have put on here. I will say that the one caution I am going to give you is the more wet the additive is. So whatever you're adding into this, the more wet that it is, the more loose you're going to make this texture paste. It's not going to be this consistency. And there are all kinds of different texture pastes out there. There's, oh my goodness, there are too many to name. This one just happens to be Tim Holtz. It's what stays on my desk. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to cover the whole thing with polka dots. Even though I know that my photo is going to go somewhere kind of in the middle. I want this to spread through. Now, one thing I'm not doing is making sure that it's even. I don't want it to have that super manufactured look. I want it to have peaks and valleys. I want there to be some spaces that are missing. I intentionally chose a stencil that is not wonky. That's not the word. The circles are not perfect. How's that? They're not necessarily wonky, but they're not perfect either. Alrighty. Load this up on here. And then we will have to set it aside to dry. Now, I don't want it so thick on my stencil that when I go to lift it, that it gives me grief. But I also want it to have texture. So some are going to be higher, some are going to be lower. Now, there is a spot right here that needs some dots. I am going to very carefully turn my paper. And lay it down. I don't want it to move. Now, why am I not doing this side over here? Because that is where my tags and my photos and all of the things are going to be. All right. There it is. Now, I need to go get this all cleaned up. Yes, I have some left. That's just the nature of the beast. All right. So, let me lift this up so you can see it. Can you see the polka dots on there? So, we're going to let this dry. And then we'll come back and put our layout together. Okay, so dry. I love them. You can kind of see the dots. They're still transparent, but now they are it's glimmering. Now, some of the thicker ones, like these down here, you can't see through. They're pretty opaque. But the thinner paste is very much transparent still. Like you can see the tip of the star. So, I am going to take all of our pieces and we are going to build this layout. Turn the mic off and I'll be back with you in a minute. And here we are, finished. I really am having so much fun with these sketches. They are just making layouts fly together so quickly. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Thank you guys so much for being with me as I made this Christmas layout. I hope that it inspires you to pull out maybe pictures that aren't the very best photos, but the ones that tell the story, the ones that that you want to remember, the things that well, even if the photo is not fantastic, the memory that you're trying to convey is there. And so that's what this is for me. It's just a very typical view at our house, and especially around the holidays once the Santa hat comes out. So here it is. I will have still shots below. Next. Below I will have the links to Christy's Facebook page, to the playlist, so you can see all of the amazing projects that are being made with these sketches. I hope that you enjoyed your time with me today. I know you can get your inspiration from anywhere on the internet. And if you did, would you please hit that like button? It lets YouTube know how much you are enjoying what I'm putting out there, and it helps others to find me. My friends, if you're not a follower, I'd love to have you as one of my followers. I said this in May, and I am still pushing towards it. I am pushing towards 500 followers. I am slowly eking my way there, and I would love to have you on board as I grow this channel. Until next time, go make some memories. Bye-bye.